Hi and welcome. Today I have another Rolodex, also known as a memory dex I'm learning. So I've cut some of mine out on a Cricut just because the paper is just so horrible. But you can make it work. It just might not be as pristine. The ink doesn't go on as quite as easy, but give it a shot on your regular Rolodex paper if that's what all you have. I'm using a Stencil by Tim Holtz, and I'm using shabby shutters and broken china. And I'm going to go through the stencil with shabby shutters. I'm covering the entire card. And then I'm going to use the same stencil, and I'm going to put my ink down on the back, because that's what's gonna make this come in contact with the surface of my card. And so I'm just rubbing it on the back, the portion which will come in contact with the card. I'm going to give it a spritz of water, 1 or 2 spritz, and then just trying to line it up as best I can. I want the ink to go in the white space. So the space that didn't get the shabby shutters, that is where I want my ink to go. You could also use a resist spray or some sort of resist to do this, and then you don't have to worry about it. But I like to show different ways of doing things. And so I'm not crazy about how it went down first. It didn't flow very well completely. There's a couple areas that did well, but others didn't. So all I'm going to do is add more water. And I'm not adding more ink. You could if you felt like you had no ink left. But I'm just going to re-add water and then lay it down again. And I like to roll my paper towel just to kind of get it to spread the ink out onto the card. And this time I think it makes much better contact. I think I just hadn't got it wet enough the first time. So there's still a little bit of white, but I like the variation. And honestly, my focal image is going to cover up some of that, so I'm not worried about it. If you're worried about it, you can do it again. Now, for me anyways, the blue broken china is just a little too in my face. So I'm going to take my spritz of water again and just, I think I tried drying it first. Yeah, I'm going to be drying it here. And then I'm going to be spritzing it to add more water just to kind of, and then try to lift it off. That's not it. That's not what I'm doing there. There I was lifting off some extra ink, but I haven't spritzed it yet. Which doesn't make sense why I'm drying it first, but I wasn't sure I was going to spritz. So there I'm spritzing. And now I'm going to roll and try to lift up some of that blue, which helps me a lot. I think it's much better coloration. So I'm getting ready to finish it up here. I'm going to add a little bit of vintage photo on just the edge. I think adding vintage photo to the edge just gives a border, gives an end, so it doesn't look like it's just continuing on. Maybe that doesn't make sense to you, but it does to me. I have a few bits of ephemera I'm going to lay down for the collage. They're almost all digital downloads. I'll have the links in the description. And so I'm just adding a few things to make it look like something that I like. You can use whatever you have, but I will have the links in the description. I get all my digital files, I buy them from Etsy, and then I download them and print them on 90-pound white cardstock, and then I fussy cut it out. So because these are small, you really don't need to add a whole lot. And it doesn't mean you have to add small pieces. You can add, fewer large pieces. Like my flowers are pretty large, but it's a plan of mine to have a lot of my cards extend beyond the card, so that it's when you look at my whole Rolodex full of cards, you're going to see lots of stuff coming off the cards. Not all of them need to do that, but enough so that it's like people would think, oh, that looks really interesting. I want to flip through that. And the last thing I'm going to put on is a word. Which one's that from? It's from a Tim Holtz sticker pack, and I'm trying to remember which one it was. No, that's not it. Here it is. Chit Chat. I don't use this one very often, so wasn't sure what it was called. But I'm making it a little dingy looking with the vintage photo so that it doesn't look pristine white, because it wouldn't go with the rest of it if it did. And then I always glue it down just because I don't want it falling off in years to come, so it gets a nice glue down. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's fun, colorful, and quick. If you haven't subscribed, I invite you to do that. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up or a comment. I do have some final pictures coming up, so stay tuned for those. And I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time.